Why do you want to be a man of class? Well, when you think about the word elegance, its cousins, strength and power, that's really what a lot of guys are going after with their look, with their image, with their presentation, so that they can come off as more competent and more attractive. So strength and power, a man that's in that position, he isn't rushed, he isn't pushed, he slows things down. He actually has an air about him. And that's what we're talking about in today's video, so that you can have that air, so that you can command respect. First up, you've got to know who you are and what you want to get out of this one life, and live and practice every day being that man. And I don't care if you're a plumber, and yeah, you don't need to wear a sports jacket, but maybe you do, because your little girl, she's got a big event this weekend and you want to dress nice for that ballet. She's been practicing for 3 months. You want to just not show up like you're an outsider with your dirty hands. You're going to clean yourself up. You're going to look good for her because she matters to you. And guys, that's what I talk about here at Real Men Real Style, is you know who you are and you have a vision of the man that you can be. And that man has class. No matter how he dresses, no matter what kind of work he does, you have a vision of your best self. And so practice being that best self. And part of it is, I look at you as a diamond, as a man. You know, a diamond in nature, you know, it's not shiny because it hasn't been cut, it hasn't been shined, and that's what you need to work on. And this is what about image and presentation I talk about. Again, whether you decide to wear a suit, whether you decide to, hey, I want to simply wear casual clothing, and for you that's a dark button down with nice denim with boots. If that's your look, go for it. Maybe you're into Western wear, maybe you're into, you know, I don't know, rockabilly, whatever it may be. Make sure that you own your style and you own that look, because you can dress like a man of class, a sophisticated man in any of those if you understand, hey, this is how I want to present my look. This is going to work for my body. This is simply going to work for the message I'm trying to send. So gentlemen, hopefully that makes sense. Practice being the man that you know yourself to be, and sooner or later you are going to wake up and you are actually going to be that man, because we become what we practice. Our habits are our destiny. So develop the habit of being the best you. You know the style pyramid: fit, fabric, and function. And when it comes to the king of those three, I always say that fit, you've got to nail that. I will say that fit is king. It's incredibly important, and you need to nail it, because guys, you can go out there and buy a $2,000 suit, but if you got a $200 suit that fits you better, it is going to look better. So you always want to nail the fit, and this applies to even your casual clothing, your jeans. If you're going to buy a shirt, just simply a t-shirt off the rack, make sure it fits you properly. It doesn't matter if it's 90% on sale. If it doesn't fit you, it's not going to look good. But another thing I love about the suit is how simple it is. A single color, wear it with a white shirt. Tom Ford has made this his uniform. He wears this almost all the time, and it comes off as simple, classic, elegant. You want to find a uniform. You want to find a look that works for you. Maybe it's going to be a black t-shirt with dark denim, with some dark black boots. Yes, an all black monochromatic look, but if it's you, if you've thought through it, if it represents who you are, and that's the key with a uniform. You want to think through, who am I? What message do I want to send the world with my image, with my clothing? You know, you've had guys like Karl Lagerfeld, the late great, designer. He had a very distinctive look. Again, not for 99.9% of you, but is it something that maybe a sports jacket with jeans, or is it you're going to tone it down? You're going to go with a more casual shirt, a button down, with maybe some performance pants. You've got that combination that works for you. I know for me, I have a dark blue polo short sleeve shirt. I wear it with performance pants and nice loafers during the summer. This is pretty much my default go-to look. It works for my needs. Find what works for you. And there's nothing wrong with having multiple items, multiples of the same item, and wearing them again and again. Just, make sure to wash them. Now, if you've watched a few of my videos, you probably know that I think sports jackets can solve most of the world's problems. I mean, they build up your shoulders, make you look taller, slim up your silhouette. And in a room of men all just wearing a dress shirt and a necktie, you walk in with a sports jacket, you look like the man in charge. And don't even get me started about the color and fabric options. Just look at some of these beautiful weaves, some of these beautiful patterns. What's great about this is that a good sports jacket works with jeans, it works with gray flannels, it works with dress slacks, it works with chinos. Yeah, you could even try pulling it off with shorts. Nope, just kidding. Unless you're in the Bahamas, and if you're gonna pull off that look, make sure to wear it with the right socks and a blazer. But seriously, gents, a good sports jacket, good blazer, it's gonna elevate your look. Now, men of means have been using shirt collars for hundreds of years to properly frame the face. Wearing a particular type of collar was often seen as you were a man of wealth, you were a man of status. Seriously, this ruffle collar right here was all the rage back in the 16th century, and it actually cost as much to make one of these collars as what the average person would earn in a year. That being said, modern collars are a lot simpler. That being said, they do have a variety of parts, as you can see from this infographic right here, but there are really two factors that affect the style of a collar. It's going to be the collar point length, and it's going to be the angle, the spread right there of the collar. Now, I mentioned it earlier, but it deserves to be highlighted again, and the power of a collar is it frames the face. Whenever you're engaging with somebody, what do you want? You want them to talk to you face to face. You want them to see the expressions, and a good collar does an excellent job of keeping the eyes focused where they need to be. Now, for years, I've talked about gray flannels, and I love them because you can dress them up. You can relatively dress them down, but they go with pretty much anything. And as you guys know, there's 50 shades of gray, but seriously, you've got light gray, you've got medium gray, you've got dark gray, and yes, there are many other shades of gray, but it's a non-color. So you can wear it with pretty much any jacket, you can wear it with any shirt, any type of trouser, and it's going to work. And gray flannel, especially during the colder months, we're talking fall, winter, and spring, this is perfect because it's got that napped weave. It not only keeps you warm, but that texture. It just really sets it apart from all other trousers out there. Now, this next tip to be more elegant is represented by a mathematical equation. Here it is right here. Does anyone actually understand this? Well, let me break it out for you in simple terms. Gentlemen, this is known as the Lindy effect. It's a theorized phenomenon in which the future life expectancy of an item is related to how long it's actually been around. As an example, let's take a piece of clothing. The modern suit. Yes, there have been a few changes in lapel width, colors, fabrics, makeup material, but in general, the silhouette, the style of the suit hasn't changed much in the last 100 years. Knowing that, we can assume that in the next 100 years, it's not going to see many changes either. So why does this matter? Well, when it comes to elegance, your wardrobe, your presentation, the items that you carry with you when you travel, this matters. You want to make sure that you put your best foot forward, and that when you're spending money on items that are not going to go out of style. Now, in general, a wardrobe should consist mostly of darker colors, especially when it comes to your trousers, when it comes to your jackets, because of just simply the practicality of keeping them clean, of knowing that you're going to rub into things that, yeah, you want something that can get a little bit of a stain on it and really not notice. That being said, when it comes to brighter, when it comes to colors that grab attention, I use them like a spice. But you want to understand which colors are going to work for you and your complexion. And if you're ever in doubt, simply go with white. When it comes to shirts, it's going to be the dressiest and the most versatile. Light blue is a close second, but it just grabs attention, especially when used in small quantities. This pocket square right here, a lot of you guys probably noticed it, and that's because it stands out. It has contrast with the dark outfit. If you're familiar with colors, all colors are basically the base colors there are hues. Then if you add a bit of white, you've got tints. If you add a bit of black, you've got what's known as a shade. And usually shades are going to be colors that have that deep richness to them. That's going to be your maroons. That's going to be that really dark, rich greens. That's going to be, yes, our really dark, deep blues. Now, colors historically have had a very important role to play in class distinction. We would see purple, which was actually made from snails, and it was a very labor-intensive process, and it would expose people to certain chemicals and things that could make them sick, hence why it was pretty much only royalty for the longest time wore purple. And I know in Viking culture, we also saw that with blue, but these were colors that are almost viewed as magical that people could create. And they were viewed as, yes, as something that only people of wealth, only men of means were actually able to wear. Now, of course, I'm not talking about the real thing. That has been outlawed for decades, thank goodness. What I'm talking about here is the tortoiseshell pattern. This pattern right here is something a lot of guys see, but they are not familiar with, so they don't bring into their wardrobes. And for me, especially on sunglasses, other accessories, is just something that really has a great look to it and a storied history. For over 3,000 years, human beings have been using the tortoiseshell pattern in furniture, in instruments, and accessories, and it has been associated with wealth since the beginning. So if you're in the market for a new pair of sunglasses, give tortoiseshell a look. So let me give you a list of fragrances I think would be great for a sophisticated man. First up, we've got Hermes H24. Simple, clean, elegant, versatile. Next up, we've got Green Irish Tweed by Creed. Classic, bright, masculine. You can't go wrong with this one. Next up, we got Bleu de Chanel by Chanel. Right here, I've got the Eau de Parfum. You're also going to see the Eau de Toilette and the Parfum. For me, they're all very similar. I do think the Parfum and the Eau de Parfum, though, are a bit, there's just something about them that levels them up, and I think for the older, more classy guy. Maybe you want a classic English scent? Then look no farther to Penhaligon's Sartorial. This makes you smell like you just came out of a classic men's barbershop. Perhaps you want a powdery office fragrance that screams quality. Check out Prada L'Homme. And for me, the fragrance I'm wearing today that got me in the mood for today's video, Dior Homme Intense. Whether you're seated, whether you are standing, walking across a room, you want to look like you're confident. And for men, one of the easiest ways to do this is to put the chest out. You do that by rolling those shoulders back. And so many of us, because of our phones, we're used to hunching over. We're looking down. Whenever your head's down, whenever your shoulders are hunched, this makes you look weak. You want to change this up by rolling those shoulders back. Very simple, very practical, and it has a profound effect on how people perceive it. Now guys, really quick, a lot of guys make a mistake. They think that just watching a video like this on YouTube is somehow going to make them an expert. Straight up, gents, you have to take this information and put it into action. And one of the best ways to motivate yourself to take action is to put yourself in a community, in a group of like-minded warriors, taking steps to improve their image, their presence, their presentation, and you can find all of that over at our community at school.com/RMRS. Over in our school community, we've got detailed classes, we host challenges, and you can meet and engage with like-minded men taking steps on a daily basis to become their best self. So gents, instead of saying someday, how about you say day one and join our community? I'm putting the link down in the description, in the comments, or you can just go directly to school.com/RMRS. I will say that by slowing things down, the way that you speak, the way that you move, you will come off as more elegant. And it's something that if you ever watch somebody that's in control, somebody that's a leader, they're not hurried, they're not nervous looking, they look like they are actually very laid back, their breathing is fine, and this is something I do recommend. Now in my videos, I know I talk quickly, but if I really want to make a point, I slow it down. And it's something that you should think of, hey, if I'm going to be leading a team, if I want to come off as elegant when I'm giving a presentation, is it something that I can slow down and I can emphasize the points? And I'm not talking about slowing it down so much that people think you have something wrong up here. No, what I'm talking about is letting your mouth catch up with what's going on up here. Many times we default and we fall into these crutch words. Like, you know what I'm talking about. And if you think you have an issue, record yourself and see how many times you say these things. Most likely you say them 2-3 times more than what you think. When you speak too fast, when you speak with tons of crutch words, it makes you come off as somebody that can't formulate their thoughts, as somebody that's not calm, collected, and those are all related to a man of class, to a man of elegance, to a man of power. You want to be someone that sets the tempo, somebody that when they're speaking, others listen. I even have one friend, she coaches high-level execs on how to give presentations. One of the things that she does early on is she helps them think of an animal when they're on stage that they should move like. Because sometimes people think they're clumsy, they're like an elephant walking around just loud. She's like, no, act and think of yourself as a panther. How would a panther move? And that's how the person walks. It sounds strange, but when you envision yourself as moving like this stealthy cat, all of a sudden you're slow, you're calculated, you're in charge, you are just simply moving, ready to pounce when needed. So there you are, having dinner at a fancy restaurant with some people you want to impress. In any case, to come off as a man of elegance, a man of class, make sure to chew your food at least 20 times. Oh, and when you're chewing your food, chew with your mouth shut. Now hold up. I know you may be thinking, Antonio, what in the world does chewing have to do with elegance? Guys, it's all about slowing down. Seriously, it was only a few minutes since our last beer, and as soon as a new one hits the table, we grab it and slam half of it. Now, back in college with your fraternity brothers, that may have been proper etiquette. In the military, you had literally minutes to sit down and eat in boot camp. But guess what, guys? You're not in that situation anymore. You want to take a step back. You want to show, hey, I understand I've got time. I'm going to enjoy what is put in front of me, and I'm going to slow down and eat my food, savor it, and taste it. Now, this one is often forgotten, but I think a man of elegance, a man of class, he's very good when it comes to communication. If you're going to be late, text, send a quick message. Hey, I'm going to be 15 minutes late. I apologize. If you had a great time, you spent time with somebody's house as a guest, send them a written letter. This is very rare. Send them a very well thought out thank you about what you enjoyed. If you're going to give compliments to people, give compliments to people based off of their abilities. Women all the time are complimented on their beauty, but if you know, wow, she was amazing in terms of the way that she spoke, of how she presented herself, of the way that she carried herself, this is a perfectly fine compliment and something that a lot of women, a lot of men don't receive. And a man is generous, especially a gentleman, with his compliments. He realizes that he may not get them very often himself, but he gives them out freely, especially when they're deserved. All right, Jen, so what video to watch next? How about the #1 rule to always looking strong and powerful? This video actually is doing really well. It's a solid video. I think you're going to enjoy it. Go check it out. It is a good video. And yes, when you click here, you will magically go to the next video. I love the way YouTube works. Oh, yeah.